Hi everybody, welcome to my latest episode of the Guys for Football Manager 2023. In this episode, we're going to look at WONDERKIDS and find out exactly who the best are, and we're looking at the top 5 in particular for this year's game. Every year, Football Manager introduces the world to some legendary names, and these are names that live on through the history of the game and are never forgotten within the Football Manager community. From Taribo West to Erling Haaland, it is fair to say that this game increases the interest in these names tenfold. But unfortunately for everybody, it doesn't always work out. You have players like Freddie Adu and Kurlon who just never realise their potential, end up disappearing into the ether. Now, the opposite end of the spectrum for that is you have other players like your Erling Haalands and your Martin Odegaards who have been world-class wonderkids and do realise their potential. And in the end, what they do is they go on and they achieve at the very top of the game. I mean, if you look at Erling Haaland and Odegaard now, their careers have been fantastic. Odegaard's at Arsenal and captain, while Erling Haaland is playing for some team who wear blue in the north of England. What we're going to do today is we are going to look at the top 5 wonderkids. I'm going to give you a rundown of why you should sign them, how much they're going to cost you, and whether I think really they're a player you're going to want in your team. Let's have a look at the first one. At number 5, we have Yusufa Moukoko. A German international, Moukoko is one of the fastest rising stars in the game. Although he's only a 2-star player at the start, his stats are already higher than you'd expect. With a 16 finishing and 14 for composure, he's going to score your goals. He'll cost you around 35 to 45 million and around 70 grand a week. Small change really for a player of his potential. And while his stats are good, there are a few concerns in his personality, and he does tend to toe the line between right and wrong. Number 4, we've got Gavi. For anybody who follows Spanish football, the next 2 names won't be a surprise. Gavi's already highly thought over the Camp Nou and by the Spanish national team who've just taken him to the World Cup. The La Masia is known worldwide for producing some of the best young talents around, and Gavi's no different. His passing and decision making is up there with the very best midfielders in the game, as well as a willingness to lead. He'll cost you around 62 million, but he's going to cost you around 220 grand a week in wages. Number 3, Ansu Fati, another Barcelona product. Again, he is one of the best players in the world right now. However, he does have injury problems. Cutting off the left wing, Fati loves to attack the box and score goals, but he does start the season with a 6-week injury due to a hamstring. Another hurdle is financially. While Barcelona are cash-strapped and will look to sell him for around 30 million, you're looking at around £300,000 a week in wages. For all of Barcelona's issues around financial fair play and what they can pay players, their current players do certainly seem to be getting paid very well. His bonuses as well are ridiculous and would see him earn more than a small country does if he was to achieve them in a single season. Already a 3-star player, he is currently the 5th top left winger at Barcelona. However, I'd be playing him ahead of Depay and Dembele from the start as soon as he was fit. Number 2 is Jude Bellingham, and if we're honest, there isn't a lot that can be said about Jude Bellingham that hasn't already been said or that people don't know. He's a consistent performer, and at the age of 19, he is the ideal signing to build your team around. He's already a regular international player and already someone who likes to lead from the front in terms of on the pitch and in the dressing room. Bellingham would make the ideal addition and future captain for any side. If you were doing a Liverpool or Manchester United save, for example, you could look to replace Henderson with him, or maybe Fred, Eriksen as they get older. Financially, you'd be looking at £90 million on the transfer fee, roughly around £100,000 a week on wages, which for a player of this ability is an absolute steal. He's a naturally fit player with 16 natural fitness and a determination of 20, which means you have got an absolute winner on your hand if you decide to spend big on Jude Bellingham. And finally, number 1, Endrick. Now, be honest with me. Before this year's game launched, how many of you have heard of him? Yeah, no, me either. I'd never heard of him. But this player is number 1 on everybody's Christmas list this year. Statistically, he's already up there with some of the strikers playing for a mid-table Premier League side. Your likes of your Callum Wilsons, Danny Ings, he is as good as them already. And he's only 16 years of age, which means he will get better. In terms of your financial outlay, it's all going to come down to how well you can negotiate with his current club. He is only on £35 a week at the start of your save. So your outlay will come in transfer fee and future bonuses, which are key to negotiating with any team in Brazil. But realistically, whatever you spend on him is going to be a drop in the ocean, because you're potentially looking at having him at your club for 15 to 20 years if you play it right. He could be the next big star of Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Man City, if you're managing in Europe, you're Inter Milans, etc. He does have a number of in-game cons, such as his jumping reach and his lack of consistency. But at only 16 years of age, you would think criticising somebody for having a lack of consistency may be a little bit harsh. But the pros definitely outweigh the cons. His ability to do the unexpected is one of his main features, and a consistent danger to the defending teams, as well as a mature attitude. If you were managing a Liverpool, like I said before, he would be the perfect replacement for Mohamed Salah in 2 to 3 seasons. So sign him now and have Salah tutor him to replace him in 2 or 3 years. It is a ready-made conveyor belt that you will have. Guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you start your save for one of the big clubs if that's what you decide to do. Now, do you agree or disagree with the players that I have named in this list? If you do, then please post them in the comments, or if you have somebody else you feel might be more suited, let me know.